Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Craft Consulting Team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Welcome to this live broadcast show, all my Facebook fan page and my YouTube subscribers. Welcome to Monday Morning Matters. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. I'm a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the US. And so we love to help church leaders, we love to help church pastors, and that's why we are here to come to do some talk around church matters. Okay, we're going to do a final stop on ways to increase church attendance. I want to just say a big announcement on my book. Pre-order the book, okay? Church retention, pathway to church growth. Pathway to church growth. Please feel free to book on Amazon, on seller.com, and then on Paystack. we're going to have some of those goodies on there. All right. So ways to to increase church attendance. We have been talking on ways to increase church attendance, and we want to just wrap it up today. And then there's a growth bias and a desire. Health and growth can coexist. If you can't sacrifice one for the other, because you can have health and growth at the same time. You can have size and health. You can lose size and health. So it's just like physical body. When you have somebody who is very fat, obese, and you say because the person is very fat is healthy, size does not automatically mean that you are healthy. And the thing is, you have four categories on your screen. You have a good small church, a bad small church, a good large church, and a bad large church. And I've made this question over the years in trainings and talking with church leaders. Everyone wants a good large church. In as much as I also love a good small church, we also want to see how a church can move from a good small church to a good large church. Okay, keeping a balance between quality and quantity. And we also said that no matter what happens in your church, make sure that you are always on the quadrant 4, doing the right things all the time, so that whether you are growing or you are not growing, make sure that you are always doing the right things. Please feel free to go back to part 1 to 8. I've done quite a lot of ways to increase church attendance. Now we also need to be able to manage the front door and the back door. Why churches are not growing is because they are only putting their emphasis on the front door alone. And putting your emphasis on the front door alone will not make you to gain members. You have to put your emphasis, your attention, your money, the things that your keen attention on the front door and on the back door. So what happens is that when the front door activity is much more than the back door activity in terms of inflow, then you're going to gain members. When the front door is lower than the back door, so you have more people exiting the back door, then you are going to lose members. Okay? And what happens in some churches is when they have maintenance mode, the number of people coming into the church every week is the number of people that are leaving the church. And that's where you have maintenance mode or a preservation mode or a plateau mode. And that's not, you are still losing people. Because you are having the same set of numbers in your church auditorium does not mean that you are not losing people. You need to find ways to see how you can gain people. Okay? And then when you plot your attendance and the attendance is nosediving, is drifting towards decline, is drifting towards a denial or death approach, you have to do something to begin to look up, or to do something to make sure that the graph goes upwards. Okay, now one of the things that makes churches to decline in today's world, one, I know there's a perception the world has about the church, which has to change. But then there's what I call infrequency of attendance, where people who are coming regularly to church because of cultural Christianity are no longer coming to church regularly again. And so we have to make sure that we get people to come frequently to church and make sure that they are part of the church. Okay, we're going to move on fast from here. We stop at number 37. Have a conducive environment. Make sure that there's good ventilation, there's good air conditioning, the place is clean, the place is hygiene. There's what is happening now, the CDC protocol in place, and make sure that you have that in place so that people can be comfortable to be part of your worship service. Now, facility condition to influence attendance, number 38. Can you seat too many people? If God is meant to bring all your church membership, sometimes the church membership database of the church is way higher than the people who frequently come to church or the recent average attendance of your church. So peradventure, there's a revival going on, and all the people that have been in contact with your church in the time past come to your church. Can you be able to seat them? What is the facility barrier that there exists? Is it in the children's church? Is it in the adults' church? Is it in education facility? Is it in the utility or the toilet, restroom? What are the facility barriers in your church? How can you lift up those barriers so that people can be able to come to your church and be able to be comfortable and sit as much as you can. How do worshipers walk into your church? Crowd control. The way people come into a church when the church is 1,000 is different from the way people enter into a church when the church is 20,000. You have to have some form of crowd control policy in place. And then when you share the grace or you do the benediction of your service, the way a 20-member size church exit the auditorium is different from a church that is 10,000. You must have more exit. You must be able to control how people leave, walk into your church and walk out of the church, okay? Your seating arrangement also must be so that it's well organized, because if it's scattered, if it's not well organized, there's a way people will just begin to see that there's no structure, there's no organization in what you're doing as a church. Number 39, do you need a facility remodeling? Sometimes when we start up as a church, we build a church for a certain capacity, and now the church has outgrown such capacity. The church has outgrown such capacity, and we need to begin to see how we can begin to remodel the facility to take more people in terms of restroom, nursery, classrooms, corridors, foyers. Make sure that those facility considerations are put into place, because your church is growing. And if you are not making your building more attractive, you're not making your building more accessible, there's no how strangers will be able to be part of your church. And your church cannot grow until strangers are comfortable with your terrain and people come visiting, either by as a convert or as guests. That's how churches grow. Number 40. Has the time come for rebuilding? Okay, is your building obsolete? There's some churches that are 100 years old, 200 years old, and the structure that they had in the 19th century is what is still existing today. We have to be able to find a way of changing the obsolete structure and replace it with more attractive, modern, relevant, functional meeting place, so that the people who are of the future generation can be able to identify with the building of the place of worship that they want to identify with. God help me with internet here. Okay, 41, is your location obsolete? There's some times that you plant a church where people are staying, and then before you know it, the people who are staying in that community have left. Or your avatar, your member avatar, have left that community, or you plant a church where the place is actually a business hub. People just come to work and they leave. I always want to advise pastors to plant churches where people are residing. Okay, plant churches where people are residing. And so the only way you can know your location is obsolete is when you know your people you are sent to no longer stay in your community. That's your Jerusalem. And then that can only happen if you do regularly community analysis. Okay, what is the migration like to people coming into your community and people leaving your community? Being on top of that game will affect how will influence your church attendance greatly. 42, become a high expectation congregation. We serve a big God. We serve a great God. And so the Christian faith is a high demanding religion. And so for me, if you're coming to worship together in a church, make sure that you have a congregation that is high, because when there is high expectation, I tell you that God does great things in the midst of people who are highly expectant of what he can do. And once people see what God can do in their midst, that has a way of making people to say, yes, let's go to the place that things happen with a big God. 43, examine the church and the community image. That's perception management, image and the name acceptance. The fact that you, a church member, a church pastor, a church leader, is accepting the name of the church. You have to find out if the community is they love the image, they love the name, they accept the name, they identify with the brand, they want to relate to the church. Because if you don't have good perception and brand management, I can tell you, people will not come to your church. People will not want to visit your church at all. Lastly, human resource structuring for numerical growth. I would just recommend a book by Gary McIntosh, What Every Pastor Should Know. There's a way to go about structuring your church for numerical growth. When you hit 150, 450, 750, there's a number of human resource, full-time staff, part-time staff you need to bring on board to be able to support and give structure to your numerical growth as a church. I want to wrap up again with my book, Church Retention. I'm an author right now. Church Retention Pathway to Growth by Niyi Dunmade myself. Please, I want you to pre-order those books right now. Pre-order this book on Amazon, on Paystack, and on Seller. And of course, you can always reach out to me on my phone line. If people have already pre-ordering the book already. So feel free to order. It's going to change your church completely. It's going to change your church retention, the pathway to growth. So feel free to make that order. Make that order today. All right, church retention. From next month, I'm going to be unraveling the good things in this book. I'm going to unravel some good concepts in this book. Please feel free to grab your copy. Make sure you call the phone lines, and I'll do a pre-ordering, and you're sure going to have it. Please, if this Facebook video and YouTube video is useful to you, please like our page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then please follow us on Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Put on the notification bell. Give this video a like. Drop us a comment. I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. I want to just interact with you. So please feel free to drop a comment. And if you have any question, please feel free to let us know of your questions. I'm always at the back end attending to any questions. We do also consultations, we do training, we do strategic planning. Reach out to us and let's see how God will help your church. Till I come your way next week again, stay safe. God be with you. I'm praying for you. I love what you're doing. And I say bye-bye and God bless you.